Welcome back and Happy New Year to everybody. We are back with another episode of Retroactive. I want to thank y'all so much for joining us today. We have a full size panel for the first show of the new year. Joining me pretty much as always, we've got Josh McCoy. How you doing, bud?
What's up, man? I'm glad to be back. It's been a minute. Got my Dr. Pepper. Ready to talk about some movies.
All right. And joining us as well, we have Brandon. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Great start to the new year, and my body hasn't fully fallen apart yet, but that's what the rest of the year's for.
Give it time. Give it time. And my partner in crime, of course, my wife, Ashlyn. I know how you're doing, but how's it going? All right, so we're going to be talking a few different things today. We're going to be kicking off with some Marvel talk, a little bit of Star Wars, some best of 2023. So let's go ahead and kick things off with What If Season 2. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-heavy conversation because it just is. So if you haven't seen all of it or most of it, maybe come back at a later time. Josh, since you are our resident Marvel guy, I'm going to start off with you. What are your overall thoughts on What If Season 2, if there's any particular episodes that really stand out for you or just anything in general?
I thought it was fun. The animations was a good time. I think Season 1 was better. I think that Doctor Strange episode from Season 1 is really hard to beat. It was just an overall good story. But when it came to this one, I have to say, which is kind of tough because I feel like every episode got better. Like there wasn't a bad episode at all, but I have to say the one I had the most fun with was Iron Man on Sakaar. Like with the whole race with
that was fun.
That was a fun one. Hot Toys put out a figure for that Hulkbuster. It doesn't look good in figure form, but it looked good on the show itself. But no, I thought it was a lot of fun. I kind of felt like the finale was kind of a glimpse of what we might see with Secret Wars and whatnot, because with all they made Captain Carter like OP as hell. Didn't make sense, kind of. Some of the stuff didn't make sense, but it's animation, it's Marvel. I was there for the ride, and it
was fun. Brandon, your thoughts on the Season 2?
Overall, I really, really loved the whole season. It was I have very little complaints, but I feel like they're kind of valid. I really, really enjoyed the new character. I was not expecting to at all. I thought that was like,
that was good.
I was like, man, I went into it thinking that they were gonna bomb, and it wasn't gonna be good. It was fantastic.
I was confused at first.
Huh?
I was confused at first. Like, wait, did I miss something? And then
so did I, dude. And I had to Google it. I was like, who is? And then I typed in her full freaking name, which. Yeah. Anyway,
it was like a cool mixture of like Pocahontas meets Avatar.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah, well, I'm a big Pocahontas fan, so that makes sense. But it was a very, very well done episode. Like a whole thing had me like just so intrigued. Like you said, the ending, I thought the same thing, that this may be where we're going was Secret Wars. And I think that the finale was very well done. Especially with that twist with Supreme Strange. Basically just he's in a sense acting as the collector, but for humans and heroes and villains and shit. Is really good. But my only real complaint on it, I will say, is the fact that I feel like they focused a little bit too much on the heroes that we've already seen from other multiverses. And they're not they didn't really break in too much, with the exception of the Shang-Chi episode where like Helga got the 10 rings or whatever. That was real. I love that one, but I was hoping to see just a little bit more of like some of the newer what is it, the newer Marvel heroes that we haven't seen too much of yet. But I guess they have a new series coming out. I saw that they were doing season 3.
They put some images out today.
Yeah, I saw that. I was happy to see some glimpses of Sam as Captain America, so that gives me a little bit of hope. Only other thing I'd say that was kind of like a little bit of a turnoff, but it kind of, it was the whole thing where they kind of focused on a lot of stuff that wasn't really too important to the scale of the multiverse, like the whole thing of setting it in the 1600s. I was like, why are they doing this? It was it felt like they squandered a little bit of it, but they made up for it in the fact that all the episodes were very, very fun, and it was just a good enjoy and a good watch. So yeah.
Do y'all find it weird that we haven't? Speaking of Sam Wilson, he's Captain America. He's supposed to be kind of like we're supposed to be watching the MCU kind of through his lens, like you did with Chris Evans and RDJ, but he hasn't been anything since Falcon and Winter Soldier. There was a rumor he was going to be in Wakanda Forever because like he got his suit and everything from there. He wasn't there, but like we have on his movie next year, but that got pushed back. But like you would think he would have been a more prominent figure. Because what Falcon Winter Soldier, that was what, almost 3 years ago? That was after WandaVision, right?
Yeah, but I can see where they may stray away from that and kind of put the focal point on maybe another hero, maybe someone we haven't seen yet. Just on the pure fact that they've already been there, done that with the whole Captain America thing. I will say I'm honestly kind of shocked they're doing a whole new Captain America movie, even though it will be about Sam Wilson. We already kind of know where Sam Wilson, kind of comes from with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We saw a little bit of kind of his origins in his hometown and that sort of thing, but we've seen his transition from Falcon to Falcon to Captain America, and it's like, what more is there to say? I could see where 4 could be either really good or really bad just because of that point alone.
Well, it's more of a political film because I mean it's already out there. So I don't know if you guys heard, but the whole, Harrison Ford is Secretary Ross. He's gonna be the Red Hulk and everything. Lego kind of already spoiled that. But like the whole thing is like Kingpin's gonna be. We're gonna talk about that later. Mayor and Secretary and General Ross is gonna be president. Like that's the whole thing. So we're gonna have Red Hulk as the president. It's a whole political spy thriller, so it's like perfect for that. So,
I did hear that that they're apparently doing some major, and I know this happens a lot, but they're apparently doing some major reshoots and possible rewrites with the movie, which is why it got delayed like a whole extra year.
I think they're learning.
They cut out an entire actor too. If you didn't hear, they cut out Stephen Yeun, his character. I may be butchering his name, but Glenn from The Walking Dead.
He was supposed to be Sentry.
He was in the Thunderbolts. He quit.
The Thunderbolts. Yeah, that was. I don't think he was. Maybe he was going to pop up as Sentry, probably like a post-credit thing, but he was going to be Sentry in Thunderbolts, which was its own thing. Yeah. So, like I said, unless he had a cameo shot in Captain America, it wasn't really going to affect that story in my opinion, because they were saving him for Thunderbolts, but now they're going to end up recasting. Because apparently there's a few different reasons for that. Obviously, there's been delays, there's been rewrites, stuff like that. But I haven't dug too deep, but he does have some personal stuff going on. So he wanted to kind of take a step back anyway and just kind of take some time for himself. This is a very involved type of universe, a very involved set to be a part of, and you have to be fully in it. So if you don't feel like you can do that, to the best of your ability, it's probably best for you to step back. But he did say that he hopes to work with Marvel in the future in some way, shape, or form. And hopefully they don't, hold a grudge or anything like that for him stepping back from this position or whatever. But
Alan Richardson needs to play Sentry.
Oh, yeah. I remember you posting that. Yeah.
He's going to be the perfect Sentry.
The funniest thing to me is people saying the dude from The Boys. Because it's basically the same character.
Yeah, same character.
It's Homelander.
It's a Homelander. I'm like, that's too on the nose. Like, honestly, same with people saying that Henry Cavill should do it. I'm like,
he'd be perfect too.
I know he'd be perfect, but it's
other than Hyperion is basically Marvel's Superman, Sentry and Hyperion.
Right. So. I know, and that's why it'd be funny, but I don't know if that's a good idea. So Ashlyn, your thoughts on the overall season 2 of What If?
I really enjoyed it. I agree. I liked the fact that it got better every episode as it went forward. I really enjoyed the Iron Man on Sakaar episode. I thought that was really fun, a really good time to revisit those characters through a different lens. So that was really neat. I really enjoy the tie-in that we got with Captain Carter and the story that they did with coming back to Supreme Strange and all of that. So that was probably, I would say, my favorite episode, just because we were getting all of the tie-in. I really like what Brandon said. It really was like he was the collector, but with the heroes and the villains. That was a really interesting take. and I really also enjoyed the new character that was kind of like really out of left field, because I don't really know if you said she's never been in Marvel before.
Mm-mm.
So
No, they created a brand new character specifically for this.
yeah, so that was really cool to see that, and the whole Pocahontas vibes the whole time. I was looking at Andrew and I was like, is this like Marvel Pocahontas? Like, what is happening here? But
There's
it
a
was
good
really
chance,
cool.
I feel like, after the success of this, that they could give her like a mini series comic run or something like
Yeah.
that, to kind of like introduce her to the comic specific people and kind of go from there and try and build up that character as things go forward. Because I think there's been a lot of positive reception with that new character, I feel like.
Yeah, it was
It's
really neat. I really think they did a really good job with her story and everything, and then tying it in to all the existing characters we already know.
Josh, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say, if Sideshow made a piece on her, would that be something y'all pick up? Being massive Disney fans like yourself.
Possibly.
I mean, maybe depending on like what it is. Sideshow possibly. If it was Hot Toys, no, I'm not a Hot Toys guy. But it really depends. I don't think that whole. I saw some images where it's like the side by side at the very end with her and Captain Carter like all decked out and all the pieces. I was like, that would look ridiculous in a
Well,
figure where she's got like the helmet and the sword and all that kind of stuff. And it's like
knowing
it's
Hot Toys, they'll probably do it.
oh my gosh, like it's like you said, it's a fun in the moment type of thing, but I just don't think it would translate well to a figure. But yeah, I pretty much echo everything all of you have, for lack of better words. What you guys are saying with the series, I feel like it got better as it went on. I do think I liked season one a little bit more just because it jumped around a little bit more to different worlds and we got some different different takes on things. This was a little bit more like through line that not everything was connected, but things felt a little bit more connected this time around. And obviously we had that like Captain Carter through line for multiple episodes, but I really enjoyed her character arc in this series. I really, really like what they've done with Captain Carter and like kept that going. And I feel like I have this feeling that there might be a resurgence of her to the point of bringing her back live action, not just to kill her off in 5 seconds,
Yeah.
but type of thing. I really feel like they're building to something like that, whether it be for Secret Wars or whatever
They
the case
probably
may
are.
be. I would be shocked if we didn't see her at least in Secret Wars, but I'm totally cool with it. I really liked that mixture of the Winter Soldier meets Black Widow episode was really cool. That was a really cool crossover type of feel to it. Yeah, the whole like back in time one was a little odd, but I think they were just kind of having fun with that. Um, I got a little lost, a little confused in that episode. I think with the whole like there's the outlier or whatever. I can't remember what they called it, but it was like Steve was the outlier that they
Yeah.
were looking for the whole time. That was a little bit weird. But yeah, overall,
Like,
really,
Happy Hogan Hulk.
that was probably one of my least favorites of the season. It wasn't bad. Like it was a fun, and especially because that one I think obviously with it being holiday released. Oh, we lost him. Released I think around Christmas when it dropped, and because they all pretty much did. It was like over the course of 9 days, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that one pretty much dropped like almost on Christmas, but that one
Yeah.
I think was just supposed to be fun for the holidays type of thing, but it was probably my least favorite of the episodes. But it was still funny seeing Happy, playing that character, which I'd never. And the fact that they had him show up later on as that same version,
Same character, yeah.
same character with the purple Hulk and everything like that was really kind of weird. I don't know if that's something that from the comics or what. So, but
I didn't know it was just for what if.
okay, all right, yeah, fair enough. So yeah, overall, I think real solid season. Definitely looking forward to season 3, seeing what they do to continue this on. I do kind of hope when we get to season 3, we kind of go back to the whole we can jump around to different universes a little bit more.
Yeah.
I feel like we got kind of a nice, not it doesn't have to stop, but a nice like let's take a pause from the through line of season 1 going into season 2 with Captain Carter and that whole thing with Doctor Strange. I feel like we can take a step back from that now And like, if they want that to be like the final episode of next season, that's fine. But everything else, I would really prefer kind of jump around a little bit more and have a little bit
Yeah.
fun with it. So, but to stay on Marvel, now we're going to jump over to the new Echo series that dropped. Now, they did something a little bit different with this one, as most of you probably know. They dropped the entire series at once. I believe it was only 5 episodes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think was a really smart move. We've talked about this, I know, amongst ourselves, like whether through Messenger or whatever. For the most part, I feel like we have a general consensus that it was, probably better than we expected. There were definitely some things they could have done better. What I'll say is, I was surprised how much I enjoyed the show. I went in with low expectations. I didn't really know what to expect. I'm always for, whether it be like the whole what if thing with the new character they created, or with this character, with representation, with doing something different, or involving a culture, and shining light on something that doesn't always get the time of day that it should. And for that, I feel like this did really well with that. We got, not only do we have the whole ASL thing with all the sign language and all the characters, that apparently the entire cast and like crew learned sign language for this series, and so that they could fluently use it throughout the process. So pretty much everybody on the set knew ASL by the time they got started filming, and that's pretty impressive. And so I really like that, and I was a little worried that because of that, I was going to lose out on some of the emotionality with the dialogue, and I did not. Like it, they did such a good job with it, because you still have the emotion on the face. You still have, like, a lot of times, obviously with sign language, sometimes they'll mouth the words out, or they'll say the words as they're using their hands, like a lot of the characters that didn't have the hearing disability problem would do, because that's how a lot of them do it. But that, and then of course you have the cultural side of things with the indigenous background. That was really interesting. I mentioned, and I think we're all kind of in the same boat, I feel like they did rush the ending a little bit. That does seem to be a common thread with a lot of these Marvel series. Now, this one, it's only 5 episodes, so I can't necessarily blame them for rushing it. But I feel like that last episode in particular, it was going, building up, and then it was like, whew, and we're done.
Fell flat.
And so that was my biggest complaint. Up until that point, I was pretty much locked in.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed. We watched this over like 2 days, and I was locked in the whole time. I really liked what they did with this character. Like I said, for the most part, I liked what they did with Kingpin, with bringing him back. So overall, I'd say I'd give this like a 7.5 out of 10 for me personally. And it was a pleasant surprise. But I do think, as I said before, it was the right move to drop it all 5 episodes at once. This is not something that I feel like you could have dragged out and kept everyone's attention over the course of 5 weeks. Brandon, I'm going to jump over to you on this one. What were your thoughts?
I'm glad you jumped over to me, and I say that because literally everything you said word for word is exactly how I feel about this, like to the T. Especially like the part, and I know we talked about it a little bit too, but I was really concerned going into it and knowing that it was a very ASL dominated character, that I was going to be thrown out of it a little bit. And you're absolutely 100% right. It did not feel like that at all. So I'm very, very happy that it didn't throw me out of it, and that they included it in a very fantastic way. Especially now knowing that the whole cast and crew learned that. That's mind blowing. I couldn't imagine learning an entire language, so to speak. I mean, that for a film, that's incredible that they all did that. And just like you, it's like it was the exact same for me, where it was like the first 4 episodes, I was all in for it, man. I was like, I was not expecting to like it, and there I was, just like sitting there watching it, and I didn't want to freaking go to bed some nights, just like, because I'm like, I want to see the next one, The buildup was incredible. Incredible is not the right word, but it was very, very well done. until that last episode, where it's like there's just so many. It left me with way more questions than I had answers to. I still, and I've mentioned this to you as well, I don't know exactly really what her powers are. You
Same.
know, why she has her powers. There's not a lot of that. It's just that we know it derives from her ancestors that echo through her. Excuse me. That was the best explanation that we got was her grandmother going, these are your ancestors that echo through you. This is what, this is why you're having the visions, but we don't understand like what's the big, benefit
Like
to
the
having those
trigger.
visions. Yeah, exactly. I was hoping to see at least her hone the powers a little bit better,
Yeah.
and it just didn't happen. I feel like as well, with regard to Kingpin, I was really hoping to see a little bit more brutality, and I feel like this is just going to have to be something I have to adjust to with Disney now taking over what was a Marvel franchise or a Netflix franchise, because they're going to have to constrict it a little bit from what Netflix did, if they bring in, for Born Again too, where they can't be as brutal, but I just still hope that they are, because that's the characters that that's how we were introduced to these characters was a brutal but really gritty and dark series, which was Daredevil. And we with Kingpin specifically, he's ferocious. We saw a little bit of that ferocity.
I was gonna say, I think we saw that a little bit with
A
like the
little bit, yeah,
alley scene, but they did
exactly.
the like cutaway,
They
so
cut it,
like
yeah.
so you're
It
not
wasn't
really
like the
seeing the
car.
carnage.
Yeah, it wasn't like the car door scene from Daredevil where everyone's like, "Whoa, that's Kingpin." Yeah, it's just you see a little bit of it, but I hope they don't censor it too much to the point where it damages the characters going forward with Born Again. But yeah, going back to Echo with regard to Kingpin and his character arc, the only other thing I'll say that was a little bit disappointing on that front was the fact that he kind of just, it seemed like 180'd his character in a sense where she, kind of had a psychiatric evaluation with him in his mind, and I saw a post that kind of made fun of it in a sense, but it's true in a sense. I was like, it's like, why was the last episode of Echo just Kingpin having a therapy session? Is like, it kind of put a little bit more into perspective. That's like, yeah, they focused on that a little bit too much. We knew Kingpin's origins already from Daredevil. Like, I would have much rather them have used that time to focus more on Maya and see her hone in her powers a little bit more than what we saw. And whatever that may have entailed, I feel like they left the door open a little bit too much on that one. A little bit I could understand for going forward, whether that's a season 2 or her being in another Marvel series or show or movie, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more on kind of the whole basis of why we're watching her in the first place, which is her powers.
So you feel like maybe they should have done like a 6th episode and that might have finished
100%.
it out better.
100%.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think the 5 episode thing was the reason it got cut short, because it's like it just feels like they went at such a good pace for the first 4 episodes, and then the last one they shoved everything in way too quick. If they just split it up and focused maybe on the Kingpin stuff in a different light, but also more so I should say on Maya and her ancestors and her family and the significance of that with her powers, I feel like that would have gone over a lot better with not only just the viewers but the critics who are rating it too. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Agreed. Yeah, I I agree with you about the Kingpin stuff. I do think, hopefully, because I've heard a lot of things that they're getting some of the people that worked on the Netflix series to come in for this new version as well. That I do think we're going to get a little bit more of that like vicious side of him in that series. I think the reason we didn't get more of that here is because 1, he's recovering. 2, this character he has an emotional attachment to, which is very different from like anything else. Like everyone else is completely expendable to him. You know what I mean? This is like, at the end of the day, he would drop her but like this is one of those few people, if anyone else in his life, that he has a serious emotional attachment to, is basically like a daughter to him. Even as all the messed up stuff that he's done either to her or like in the vicinity of her or caused her life to go down a certain path. Like that's why I think we saw a very different side of him with this. And then like to what you were saying with the whole reestablishing his backstory, I think that was just more like for the people that didn't watch the Daredevil series and maybe don't have that backstory on him. They're like, oh, we need to reiterate this. We're going to condense it into like a, half an episode or something like that. But at the same time, I'm with you. I don't know if it was necessary for this. Maybe they could have just saved that for the Daredevil series.
Yeah.
And just kind of like done that real quick with Daredevil. But anyway,
I think another reason that they did it is to show Maya's choice of not choosing his path. So she's showing him, his back, like going back in his mind and everything. And that's why they were using it as a way to kind of like segue to the fact that like Maya's making the decision not to try and kill him again.
Right.
And everything like that. She's being the one that's like, I'm going to change the tide here and I'm not going to do this. And I'm trying to take you down my same path. But then, of course, it's just him like freaking out because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on because somebody just jumped in his mind. And
right.
So,
and all of us are like, I don't know what's going on. It's like it was a good concept, but bad execution. You know what I mean?
I definitely like agree with you guys. I definitely think it should have been a 6-episode series. I think that 6th episode was needed to finally get the time with Maya's grandmother and everything because they were just like, okay, we kissed, we made up, like everything's good now, you're magic, like, and team up time, like, and then everything was like done.
Grandma starts kicking ass out of nowhere.
Grandma was kicking ass, man. She's just throwing them up on the roof, dude. That was hilarious. I loved that
really
part.
Cool. So I like that they like kept that though. That like they're showing you where the power comes from. Like they keep going back to all the different ancestors through time.
But we just don't fully understand it.
We just don't fully understand it. They didn't flush that part out, which I think they would have if they had more time with the 6th episode. And then I just, like you said, I really enjoyed all the representation. I can trace my family roots back to Native American. It's something that I learned about from a young age with my family, and I have family that goes all the way back to the Civil War, and with Native Americans and everything like that. So it's just really neat to get a better understanding of like the powwows that we see happen here in Florida quite a bit. And you always drive by them and you're like, I have no idea what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of chanting in a big ass circus tent. Like what is happening? So to actually get to see like a personal view of that and really all the neat stuff that goes into it was really
especially
cool.
with all of us being right down the road from that one, like off of the Parkway.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Central Florida has quite a few of these things.
So it was really neat to kind of get an insider's view of that and really be like, yes, it's not everything we always have heard with like the reservations and things like that of, all the negative stuff you hear about that with, and it's not all casinos and everything like that. So to see like true Native culture in the modern era, but still going back to their beginning times was really cool. And the one where it was like the female playing almost from the like game with the ball and the stick, almost like lacrosse. That was like really neat. It kind of gave me Road to El Dorado vibes with the game that they play in Road to El Dorado. So it was really cool seeing almost like that Mesoamerican, Native American crossover with that. That was interesting.
Nice.
And then, of course, we got to hear from Josh, like I said, our resident Marvel guy. I know you have thoughts on everything Marvel.
Well, you guys are forgetting the most important part of the show. Y'all didn't talk about the recast.
The recast?
The recast in the show? Kingpin's hammer.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I wanted to bring that up, but I forgot. Dang.
They changed the hammer because they officially confirmed that Daredevil and all that, and they put it in the timeline on Disney Plus is all part of the Marvel universe now, and they changed the hammer. And I was like, I don't know.
See, we talked about this in Messenger and stuff like that. Are we sure that it's our Earth though, or is it just overall multiverse?
Vincent D'Onofrio already confirmed it. Like Disney put it in the chronological order on Disney Plus. We look at the timeline. They put Daredevil, Jessica Jones. They put it all there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like it's officially canon to the MCU.
I had only heard about the showrunner talking about it, and every time something like that happens, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like until I see something official or like Feige talks about it, I never really know what to believe when that kind of stuff gets talked about, and especially with it being a Netflix specific series, I was just like, oh, it's probably just a different Earth. You know what I mean?
I think the only time they ever referenced the MCU, from I remember, it's been a while since I watched it. The Daredevil series is in the first few episodes of season 1.
Yeah,
they talk about the Battle of New York. You see like a newspaper, like the whole
clipping, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the only time they really reference it, and then they kind of keep. But I think that's another reason why they're doing a bunch of reshoots on Daredevil, because like they were watching and realized, this doesn't really fit what that theme had going for it. So now I'm kind of glad that they started shooting today. Like they went back on set and they didn't scrap everything. I heard that they pretty much kept 6 episodes worth of footage, and they're adding 3 more episodes. Like they're making a new pilot, and they're adding 2 more onto it. So they're keeping a bunch of the footage that they shot, but they're just because like there was a rumor that like that they killed off Foggy and what's her name,
Karen Page, yeah,
Karen Page off screen. Like and then like I guess people were mad about that. So now that's why all of a sudden it's been all over the trades that Foggy and Karen are on the show now.
I also heard that originally it took several episodes to even see him in the suit.
Yeah, you didn't see Daredevil in his suit to the 4th episode.
Huge mistake.
But another thing that's kind of weird. I know we're talking. I know we got to talk about Echo, but like they kind of touched on the whole Born Again story. I think it was like season 3 of the Daredevil Netflix show. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to do that. But as far as Echo goes, it had a really, really strong ending, and I don't want to. I'm not saying it was bad, and it did have me hooked. But like every episode, it was just like this. Like it was, and then once we got to that finale, it was just kind of like, ooh, in your face. So like I agree with you guys 100%. The ending was very choppy. I feel like they could have actually benefited from another episode. It's good they put it all up front. I don't think this would have been a good show to have like a weekly binge. Like it wouldn't have kept the conversation like something like Loki did. So it's really good that they put it all at once. But they had me hooked for like the first. I think after episode 3, I started kind of like losing it. It was still a good show though. Like it's a lot better than She-Hulk. I thought it was better than Thor: Love and Thunder. So like it wasn't the worst thing out there, and it did show that Marvel can tell a good story and do something a little different, and that it kind of put a little more faith into the whole grittiness of Marvel and everything. Because Kingpin was ruthless, but one thing that kind of bothered me was the whole. I was expecting this like with his eye. The man got shot in the eye. I was expecting something brutal, and all he did is he had a little bruise. And then that was it. Like man got straight up shot, like at arm's length, got shot in the face. There's no hole. There's nothing there. It was just weird that he just had a black eye.
Well, do you think maybe with his money that he paid to get some high-end reconstruction surgery? Because that's what I was thinking.
They don't say that. Like they just kind of like, take off. Oh, he has a little boo-boo. So like gun wounds don't do anything. I know
they leave a lot open-ended in that regard.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a little too real on this point too. If you get shot in the freaking eye, why are you having scars up here and all around your cheek, like and all that? It was just like why all this scar tissue like all over the face? It just I don't know.
Did anybody else feel bad for the interpreter lady? That he had.
Yes. Oh my God, it's so bad.
She knew too. Ashlyn was like, "Why did he just do that?" And I was like, "She knows too much." I'm assuming.
That's what it was. But I'm like, I felt me and my sister were like, "What the fuck?" Like we felt so bad for her.
But that right there was like you were getting those little tidbits of the old Kingpin. Yeah. Sprinkled in throughout.
Even when he was being emotional, like with Maya and stuff. Like he felt more like the Daredevil Kingpin than he did in Hawkeye. Mm-hmm. So they are improving with that. So he did.
Yeah, especially because of how he dressed in Hawkeye. I was like, what is this? I was like, this is like the cartoon now. I was like, when he showed up in the Hawaiian shirt, I just couldn't take it serious.
Well, that's canon. Mm-hmm. That's how it was. That's what he was wearing in the comics because like the whole Echo shooting.
Oh yeah. No, I know it's comics and I know it's like the animated, but just seeing him after seeing him in the Daredevil series, show up in Hawkeye for the first time, like in the MCU specific, like with that look, I was like, I don't know.
Like,
I was like, no, I prefer him in the regular suit personally.
and the
I
way
do
they
really
advertise the show,
enjoy
they made-
Vincent as, Kingpin. I think he's doing a really great
Oh,
job
yeah, he's
with the
phenomenal.
character.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited to see him move forward. I like that little bit, that little sneak peek we got of Daredevil in this series,
That's what I was gonna
fighting
touch
with
on.
Echo.
I-
Yeah,
I-
go for it.
They advertised the show like Daredevil's in this show, and he was in it for that one scene. And that
I knew that was going to happen too.
The fight was kind of like it had its moments, but the fight was kind of because if you actually watch it, there's a lot of scenes where they're fighting and Daredevil just stands there and he waits to get punched. Like he just kind of like it.
Yeah.
It felt like it wasn't. It didn't feel like a genuine Daredevil fight. It was kind of
Prior to him showing up, though, the fight choreography was pretty damn
Well,
good.
that was cool.
Yeah.
Well, the actual fight with Daredevil was a lot to be desired, for better
True.
words. Like I was expecting a lot more, and I thought it would have been. I feel like they should have showed a little more. Like the way they were advertising it, they're like, make sure you change your parental settings. This is TVMA. There's blood. Daredevil's in this, and it's all like for one episode for like 20 seconds.
I think.
I do think.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead, baby. No, I was just gonna say I do think that was early on. So I think what it is they're trying to show her as it's more of her like scrapping to survive. She's brand new to this, so she hasn't gotten all the experience yet. So she's very inexperienced with fighting at that point, and that was like her first big face off with him. So I think maybe just theorizing that's why he like it was not so choreographed and not like as like fierce and ferocious as what we were expecting. Is it's showing her early on this is her first big assignment type thing, so she's very like nervous, cautious. She's not 100% sure. It's more about her trying to survive that scenario than her like really knowing what she's doing yet.
No, I can see that because it felt like two different. Like she was fighting like a badass to the other people, like when she kicked that chair at them and everything. And then like the second Daredevil shows up, it's like she goes from here to here. And
Yeah.
I can see that.
It's like seeing him in the suit freaked her out or something like that, and she kind of lost her nerve. But anyway, so we got a lot of not a lot of Marvel stuff coming down the pipeline as far as this year. We all know
3.
we got Deadpool 3. That's the most important thing. And as of right now, it's like the only thing.
We can't talk about Deadpool 3 because you don't like to hear about leaks.
No, and this movie has so many leaks. It's not even funny.
There's so much to talk about this movie. I wish we could talk about it.
You talk about that on your channel. I don't do leaks. But anyway, so we've got another thing here. We're going to step away from Marvel, jump into my favorite thing, Star Wars. We've got today dropped the first trailer for the final season of The Bad Batch. I am so excited for this. I'm sad that it's the final season, but I get it. We do kind of have to wrap up the story of The Bad Batch. And man, this trailer, holy shit, man. I've got so many things to say about it, but I'm going to try and condense it as best I possibly can. I'm going to jump straight to the very end of this trailer and talk about, in my opinion, the most important thing that showed up, which was Asajj Ventress coming back. That is a huge, huge freaking deal. Now, as someone who reads the comics, reads the books, things like that, there's a novel called Dark Disciple that was actually written based off of unreleased episodes of the Clone Wars. It's supposed to be a canon novel, and it was essentially telling the end of her story towards the end of the Clone Wars era. It does seem that if she's going to be showing up in this, they might be retconning that to a certain degree. She does have the same look, and the fact that she has the yellow lightsaber that she shows up in that novel. So that was really cool to see. I'm just happy to have her back. I have a lot of questions as far as what they're doing as far as retconning. This isn't the first time they've done this with some of the novel or comic related stuff, where even though they say that anything that comes out more or less is canon, whenever it comes to becomes something in live action, or they decide they want to use something animated, they might rework it or kind of retcon some stuff. They did that with when they brought Clone Wars back. They kind of changed the Siege of Mandalore a little bit. for the better, in my opinion. But there had already been a novel that talked about it, and the story was a little bit different. They normally try really hard not to completely dismiss what came before. And to be fair, like I said, this novel was based on unreleased episodes. So if they completely end up retconning the book, I don't 100% blame them, because it was just something that didn't get used. I've been saying for a very long time since I read this book that I wanted them to tell this story. I don't think we're going to get the full-fledged Dark Disciple storyline, unfortunately, because they kind of have to focus on the Bad Batch. We're getting one last run with this crew. We can't, more than an episode, focus too much on Asajj herself. But it is, I'll say, for any Star Wars fans out there, especially ones that really like Asajj Ventress, check out that book. It is a really, really cool novel. Beyond that, we got some glimpses that Wolf is returning. Of course, Rex shows up. Not a shock there. We got some sneak peeks at a couple of different things. There's a lot of people showing up or coming back. Cad Bane shows up for a second in the trailer. That's awesome to see him pop back up. This whole series is, essentially just like a Clone Wars continuation, and I'm totally cool with that. I'm very curious how they're going to wrap things up with this final season. Obviously, the easy way would just be like, hey, they all died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we got to explain what the hell happened to these people. I think it's
Omega.
What Omega? Thank you. I was like, I always want to say Alpha, and I know that's not it. I think Omega's gonna live. But I think the rest of the Bad Batch is in trouble. I think the rest of them will probably end up sacrificing themselves one way or the other, kind of like with the end of season 2 with Echo and everything like that. Still heartbreaking for me personally. That was super sad. But I think it's going to be a similar sense, or kind of like a Rogue One situation, where I'm not saying they're going to get blown up by a Death Star, but something like that, where it just wipes them out completely in like a final blaze of glory type of situation. It would probably be the easiest way for them to explain their absence from the future of Star Wars. So I'm going to jump it this time over to Ashlyn. What did you think of the trailer? What are your thoughts on it? What are your expectations for the final season?
I thought the trailer was really good. My expectations are I'm going to cry. Yeah, I'm expecting it to be very, very sad, very tense, very high stakes. I think there's a lot going on with everything we're seeing with them trying to rescue Omega. I am interested to see, since they did show Crosshair and he seems to be very regretful looking, that maybe he's going to have more of a
redemption arc.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And everything. So I'm super excited for it. I'm ready for the ride, but I'm not ready to say goodbye to the characters. But I know that's ultimately what's going to have to happen. I do agree. I think they're going to keep Omega and her storyline going, as far as she's not going to die. But yeah, I have a really 90% chance that everybody else is going to die. Hunter's going to die. Wrecker's going to die. They're all going to die. I don't think they're going to kill Wolf or Rex. I think they'll eventually split off.
They can't kill Rex.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they're going to split off somewhere and go leave them somewhere before the last episode or the last 2 episodes. I think they'll leave and go do their own thing.
I forget, is Wolf in Rebels?
He is.
Yeah, so then both of them have to survive.
Yeah,
because that hasn't happened yet. So I was trying to remember, because I know it's 3 clones that they find during Rebels, and I was
Wolf
I'm
is
sure
who's
Wolf
freaking out and calls
with
the
eye.
Empire. Yeah, he calls
thing,
the Empire. So,
but yeah, so there's a lot to do here, a lot left to say. I mean, I could be completely wrong, and they could kind of pull a Rebels thing, and most people end up making it out of this. Maybe they just retire, but I just don't see that being the case with these characters. They're too much of a fighter, too much of fighters and stuff like that for them to just kind of disappear. Now, Josh, as our resident Star Wars guy, I'm just kidding. Josh, since you don't really care too much about Star Wars, I am curious. Did you watch the trailer and everything like that?
you're gonna hate me, and I'm probably
Oh,
gonna get
boy.
shamed. But I've never watched The Bad Batch.
You
I'm not
spoiled
shocked.
a lot for him, Andrew.
I've never
Jeez.
watched-
And he's
Like-
never going to watch it, so
There's
it's
no
probably not.
spoiler warning
No.
up either,
So
man. What's going on
I
here?
don't not like Star Wars. I really enjoy The Mandalorian. I
Yeah.
thought the Ahsoka show was incredible. I'm excited to see the Filoni movie and everything, and then with the whole season 4 of Mandalorian being part season, and then the finale being the movie. All kinds of. I know that's all weird, but I'm excited for that stuff. I've just never seen the Bad Batch, but from what you described, it sounds like a hell of a time, and I'm excited for you guys.
Well, I apologize for spoiling it for anyone, but to be fair, that season 2 has been out for like over a year now. So
I haven't watched any Bad Batch. So
Not-
that's, like
I know,
said,
but
spoilers.
not you specifically, but just everybody else. Sorry,
But, hey,
but
I watched all the Mandalorian and I watched all of Ahsoka. So, and I've seen every
have
Star
you
Wars
watched?
movie.
Have you seen the Clone Wars?
No, I have not seen. I've seen everything live action Star Wars, but I have not watched anything animated.
Okay, yeah, you
Brandon.
kind of have to watch. You kind of have to watch the Clone Wars in order to really fully get the Bad Batch. At least, what I would do is, I've kind of talked about it with like the Ahsoka series. If you go online, look up specific story arcs that you need to watch. That way, you don't have to watch every single episode. But especially ones that have to do with the clones, because the Bad Batch specifically doesn't get brought up until the final season.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of have like a introductory episode that kind of like is going to lead into their series that is part of the final season. But there is some stuff that plays a part in the Bad Batch series that you won't get without having some backstory from the Clone Wars. So that would be for anyone out there that wants to watch the series. I recommend going online, finding these specific story arcs to watch, and then go from there. And then and then watch this, and then Rebels, so on, that sort of thing.
So
But
The Last Jedi isn't your favorite Star Wars movie?
where did that come from?
I just said that's everybody's least favorite Star Wars movie.
Probably
don't-
The Last Jedi. Probably The Last Jedi.
It was
Followed
a
very
bad
closely
joke,
by
okay?
episode
It was a
9.
bad joke, and I'm sorry.
Now, for me, I think I feel like episode 2 might be my least favorite.
You didn't
but-
like watching
hell?
me drink milk from that creature thing?
It's the
Aw,
thing
man.
is, like, there are certain parts of episode 2 that I enjoy. And I think I enjoy it way more now than I did before, thanks to the Clone Wars and other stuff that's kind of fleshed out some of these characters and storylines and stuff like that. The ending of episode 2 is great. I like the Obi-Wan stuff on Camino is cool. A lot of that other filler stuff is, but no, I'm never. You're never gonna hear me shit talk the entire sequel trilogy. That's just not gonna happen. The sequel trilogy, like episode 7, is what brought me back to Star Wars. It's what got me to deep dive into Star Wars. So it's never gonna happen. Is The Last Jedi my favorite of that? No. Force Awakens will probably always be my favorite of the sequel trilogy.
Mhm.
And then Last Jedi versus the Rise of Skywalker, it's back and forth on that. I'd say
Brandon's
probably
like
it's
on the edge of
probably
his seat.
it's probably Rise of Skywalker, and then Last Jedi is probably the last one out of the 3. I don't know, but my whole thing is, you guys know this, and
Rogue One
I've
will
said
probably be my favorite. I know it's not part of that, but
What is it?
Newer Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yeah,
newer
that's a
Star
good one.
Wars film. That's probably my favorite Star Wars film.
Mhm.
That one has grown on me a lot, because when it first
Me
came out,
too.
I was very like iffy about it, but it has
Yeah.
grown on me a lot.
You
But
and me both, man.
let me jump over to Brandon before he loses his mind about all the sequel stuff. Your
yeah.
thoughts on the Bad Batch?
Race.
So I just kind of want to say that, like, I feel like I never thought I'd say this about a show I really like, but I am very, very glad they're ending it. Because I feel like any more after this is just going to be, why are we watching the Bad Batch again? There's parts, I'm not gonna lie, of season 2 where I felt like that. I was like, why am I watching these characters again? They're kind of side characters of side characters in a sense, and it's like, and they've grown to be more than that. But initially they kind of started off like that, where it
Yeah.
was like, the clones in Clone Wars were the side characters, and I love the lore of it, and I love that we got to see, in Clone Wars, them growing up on Camino and really what it meant to be a clone. But then it's like side characters of those clones are the Bad Batch. So it's side characters of the side characters. And I'm like, you know, I went into the whole series when they announced it. I'm just like, I first thought, why are they doing this? I'm glad that I gave it a shot. I'm glad that it's grown on me as it has. And I really, really do love this show. But I think that ending it where they are right now is the perfect move. Because if they go out in a blaze of glory like what you're predicting, and it's going to wrap up this show to be an insane part of Star Wars. Especially, I'm stoked to see what they do with Ventress, because that was a shock. I was sitting there earlier watching the trailer, and I'm like, hold on, I had to rewind. I was like, wait, what the? And yellow lightsaber too? What? Like,
Ashton was like, "Who's that?"
Here? Yeah, seriously.
Well, it was the hair.
It was the hair.
Too,
I was like, she got hair.
I was like, wait a minute, she has hair and it's blonde. Like,
it's like, what is going on? So I'm, I do hope with Ventress though, they aren't bringing her back just for, the aspect of,
cash grab.
Yeah, cash grab, and just for the fact of like more or less they're running out of ideas and they got to throw someone in there that we know. I hope that there is
like a fan service thing.
Yeah, I hope there's a legitimate reason. I hope that they end up putting her in a spot where it's connecting to spots of Star Wars that we never knew until we knew Ventress was the one that made this happen. Something like that.
That's why I think they're rewriting this and maybe giving her ending story after all.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
I hope that's the case. I really do. Because otherwise I probably won't be too happy at the fact that they put her in the first place. I hope it does not. I really don't want that to be the case, but I could see it being the case.
Yeah.
So I hope that they do well with this, and I really want to see where they go in the future of Star Wars. I do want if whoever's left living, I hope I hope we can look back on like Rebels or something, maybe in the sequel or the original trilogy, and be like, holy crap, that random character walking by is Omega, whatever, and or Rex or something like that. And just I love the Easter eggs where they like the whole thing with Captain Rex in episode 6. That fan theory is there. I love that stuff. So I just want to see some really good fan service to this and not do it for a cash grab. I want to see them end on a high note. I hope for the best for this.
I don't want to get too off topic with this, but just because we're kind of diving into Star Wars, I just wanted to mention there's been talk about them possibly doing a Star Wars What If series.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Are y'all down for something like that?
That'd be awesome.
I would be. But you and I both know what the big one episode would be.
Which is what? I want to hear you say it.
I sure you do. What if Anakin didn't turn to the dark side?
That's pretty much the whole series right there.
Yeah, it really would be. It's like, everyone would skip to the ending on that one, because there's always been fan theories about that for years. Ever since the prequels came about, it was like, or I should say ever since episode 3 was concluded. There's always been fan art. I see a lot of fan art with like, Padme, Anakin, Luke, and Leia doing family photos and stuff like that. It's like, I want to see.
I feel like that would easily be the final episode of season 1 if they did it. I would want to see what if Ahsoka turned to the dark side.
Yeah.
I'd want to see. I mean, there's quite a few things that I'd like to see in like a what if Star Wars series, and just kind of like have a little bit of fun with it. But it's dangerous at the same time.
If they did something like that, I think the absolute best way that they could do it and not make it look like it's ripping off Marvel, is just to do series animated in one specific format. Call it one thing like extended universe or something like that, and just do a Mara Jade thing. Like a whole series on Mara Jade, or just like. What was I can't remember.
I want them to bring Mara Jade into live action, though, personally.
I would too, but in the case that they don't, I'd like to see them explore those extended universe stuff that all we have are books and novels and comics and stuff like that on, and alternate universes of what I grew up knowing as Luke Skywalker's kids. That sort of stuff. That would be
Yeah.
pretty hype.
Are there any, Josh, Ashlyn, are there any particular, like, what if stories y'all can think of that you'd want to see?
The Mara Jade would be really cool. I agree with that one. Definitely would be neat to see.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I'm like
What if
coming up short.
what if Din never found Grogu? Would the Mandalorian been that successful? Since Grogu was a cash grab.
I got another one.
I'm really upset that the whole like the Mandalorian and Grogu is the title of the movie. I'm like, can we just? That's such a terrible title.
They should have just left it there.
Yeah.
It should just be. It should be like the Mandalorian and then like a subtitle or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, or give it something else entirely. But
I agree.
But I hate that title as a movie. Like,
do you think
it's
gonna be weird without Pedro?
Do what?
You think it'll be weird without Pedro? Because
Why would Pedro not be there?
Because I hear so many things about him not doing it. Like I know all he technically has to do is voice act now because they have the other guys in the suit most of the time. But I keep hearing rumors because he's so tied up with possible Fantastic Four and stuff that he might not do the Mandalorian.
I almost guarantee if they're doing a full-fledged movie, he's going to actually be there.
Yeah, I would too.
They need him there for name recognition and stuff. I don't care if it's Star Wars. They still need some star power, and his star has risen a lot, not just because of the Mandalorian. So I think he'll be there, and I think they will show him. Show his face in the film and stuff like that. Maybe not in the series, but I feel like the movie.
The next year, he's gonna be pretty tied up because he canceled a bunch of projects he was tied to, like movie wise. Mm-hmm. Everybody's speculating it's Fantastic Four, but it's not just that. He has The Last of Us season 2, so he has a lot of big projects to do just this year alone.
I think they're probably not getting around to filming this movie until like 2025. I would assume. There's so much going on between Marvel, Lucasfilm, everything like that with people that cross the border. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot going on there, and I think they're going to have to reschedule some stuff. But anyways, before we drag on a little too long with Star Wars, I did want to kind of touch on, it's a brand new year. We saw a lot. Well, most of us saw a lot of movies, a lot of TV, that sort of thing. Wanted to do a little best of 2023 type deal. We're going to give our top 3 movies of 2023. If we had like a top series or maybe like an outlier or something like that, we can go with that. So I'm going to start off with Brandon for this one. Brandon, what are your best of 2023?
Okay, so this is strictly movies, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. First and foremost, Across the Spider-Verse. That's that was way better than I thought it was going to be, and I never really had any downsides, or I never really had any. I don't really have any downsides I can say about the movie, but I rarely run into a sequel that I am like, that is so much better than the original, and I love the original, but that one just floored me. Like I couldn't stop. I couldn't even get up to get a drink. It was so good. Like I just wanted to keep watching it. The second one, Cocaine Bear. I'm just kidding. I mean, maybe
Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse. I forgot about Slaughterhouse. Or how about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
Oh God,
that was the hardest watch ever. I actually watched that.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Okay, what's your next one?
Second one, for sure, is going to be Guardians 3. And here's the problem I can't say my third one on is that I have not yet seen Oppenheimer, but I feel like that's going to take a spot just off of I see clips of it on TikTok and I'm like, I need to fucking watch this thing, man. And I never get around to it. But I will give it to it already, but just in case I'll throw in, and this is going to cause some serious maybe conflict. But Dial of Destiny, I really liked from Indiana Jones.
Really? Okay.
I did. I really liked that. I grew up watching it with my dad, and the last time, my of course those movies are aged, and they were the 3 that are considered peak were out before I was even alive. But my dad has always been a big Indiana Jones fan, And when that fourth one came out, man, we went to go see it in theaters and we left not really happy.
Yeah.
I didn't care too much because I was still younger. It was just like, oh, cool, but nuclear explosion, refrigerator, whatever. But my dad was just sitting there. There's times I was looking over at him. I remember this distinctively, and he's just like,
just so mad.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't get to watch it with him, but I did watch it on my own, and I thought that they did a good job. There's a few things that I'd critique about it, but just for the fact that like that was something that my dad kind of brought on me was Indiana Jones, and Star Wars. Star Wars started with him too, but being able to tell him, I said, have you seen the new Indiana Jones? And he's like, no, I haven't yet. And then I was like, watch it, dude. It's on Disney Plus. And he's like, it is? Oh my God. Like it's just
best day ever.
Yeah. It kind of felt like that. But yeah, I'd give it that. I will say this year, I will tell you up front, I didn't watch too. Oh wait, hold on. I'm missing one. No, I'm not. That was 2022. Anything Everywhere All at Once? That was 2022, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. I watched that this year though, and that would have taken the cake for me. I love that movie. But
we honestly didn't even get halfway through it. Like,
really?
We gave up on it halfway through.
Oh my gosh, Kat was the same way, but to be fair, she does this during movies a lot. So, she you blink and you miss a crucial part of that about that. I'd encourage you guys to watch it over again and leave your phones in the other room, because
was there a particular TV series that stuck out for you this year?
Loki. That's just
Loki.
It can't be beat to me. Mm-mm. So yeah, Loki.
Cool. Josh, what are your top ones for the year?
Like pretty much right there with Brandon. I'd have to go with Guardians 3, Across the Spider-Verse, and this might be a hot take because I thought the movie was great. The ending sucked, but it was still a good movie. Leave the World Behind on Netflix.
I don't know that one.
That was the one that has all the conspiracies behind it because the Obamas produced and everything. It's like the whole side.
Josh is really into the Netflix movies. He checks out a lot of those ones.
Yeah, no. So like, if you haven't watched it, if you're like really big into like conspiracy theories and go down that rabbit hole, it's a good one. It made a lot of people uncomfortable because the whole thing's about a cyber attack from other countries and then making pretty much us, cause a civil war here and us fight each other. And then a week later, there's a movie coming out called Civil War, and everybody's just kind of like, this is just weird. But the movie itself was really good, so I definitely recommend watching it on Netflix. The ending sucks. I will let you know now. But other than that, it's a good movie. But as far as series goes, Loki. Like, I agree with Brandon. You can't be beat, and I cannot wait to meet this man in about 2 weeks.
Facts.
Yep, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end here. Ashlyn, jump it over to you.
Okay, mine's gonna be like all over the place compared to theirs, but it's fine.
I already know what one of them is, but it's fine. Go ahead.
Of course you do.
Barbie.
It is Barbie.
Yes, I knew it.
Thought it was really, really well done. Really enjoyed it. Went into it with super low expectations just because I wasn't sure what to expect. The only thing I know is that Margot Robbie is a queen, so I was there for her the whole time. And then with Ryan Gosling just looking ridiculous as Ken, I was just like,
one of his greatest roles, honestly.
So it was really great. If you still haven't watched it, you need to watch it. It's nothing like what you expect it to be. It's really good. It has such a good narrative, and it was just shocked the heck out of me how good it was. I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times now, and it never gets old. It's really funny. Will Ferrell shocked the heck out of me for being so funny because normally he's like a 50-50 guy for me. I either love it or I hate it. So he did a great job with it, and the whole narrative on it was great. Another one for me is gonna be
Slaughterhouse.
It's never gonna be Slaughterhouse.
Cocaine Bear.
Best double feature ever.
Yeah, dude.
Would be Super Mario. Was really good. I went into that.
Yes,
I forgot about that. Dang.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm
gonna bump Indiana Jones out and steal that. I'm serious. Like,
that's a good one. That is a really good one.
I forgot that was this year. But yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
I literally
100%.
had to go through our AMC app and look at the movies we saw this year because
Man.
I was just like,
I googled best movies of 2023 because I'm like, I have to have seen some of these, and Mario was not on there. I don't know
How dare
how.
they?
How dare
Yeah.
they, indeed, sir?
I
Yeah.
actually bought a stuffy off of Temu of the little blue
Oh,
star.
it's on there.
Oh, man.
I just saw it.
Is it?
Yep.
And so that's one of my stuffies. It glows in the dark. It's
Dang.
really funny.
Oh,
But
I just
What's your
yeah,
third?
I just recently watched it. I watched it on Netflix. The new Mission Impossible. That was actually
That was really good.
that was really good. My third one would have to be Elemental. That
Very
movie
good
was
movie.
I knew it. Yeah.
amazing.
Very good movie.
I definitely have to go with that. Spider-Verse was like right there for me. Is definitely, it was a big year for animation. Like
Yeah, it was.
across
Big time.
the board. I think we saw almost more animated movies than we did live action movies. So
What
it
about
was
John Wick
really
4?
hard to. Huh?
John Wick 4.
I
Oh,
enjoyed
yeah.
John Wick 4. I don't know where I'd place it personally out of the whole quadrilogy. It might not be my favorite of the 4 movies, but it was still really good.
I really liked parts of it, but yeah. And
the stair thing was unnecessary.
Yeah.
The first one's still the best, in my opinion, out of all of them.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
For
go ahead, babe.
series, Rebel. Rebel has his input too. I would say it's gotta be, I agree, it's gotta be Loki. Like, I enjoyed parts of She-Hulk and some of the representation in that, but then it just took a weird left turn and lost its legs, and now I think that's why we'll never see another season of that. I don't think that we'll possibly ever see that version of She-Hulk again. I don't know. Like, that whole series, I found myself enjoying the She-Hulk parts of it more than I enjoyed the parts where she was human. Like, in the first few episodes, I really liked her human side of her character and got to know her, and then it just it took a really bad negative.
She's kind of a drag.
Storyline as far as for like
she became a caricature of herself, I feel like, by the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, everything that she was trying to stand for and all the struggles she was going through kind of ended up trailing off because of some of the weird decisions that they had her make and things that she did. And so it went from being this very like positive female empowerment character to just being like a train wreck of just like, girlfriend, what are you doing? Like, self-sabotaging
with that show too. That's
so
unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But that first episode was pretty strong. The first episode was the only episode I liked. I was like, okay, I'm feeling this, and then it just, for me, it tanked. But like, it was between the Sakaar stuff, like, and then the comics, She-Hulk was a very beloved character. Like, they could have done a lot of good stuff with her, and I feel like they took it in a direction that they shouldn't have, I guess. I don't know. But like, there was a lot of potential there, and it flopped. And now it's not getting greenlit. People are saying, which I don't think she's fired, but people keep saying she's fired. I'm like, no, they're just not doing another season. She'll probably pop up in other stuff, but that's it.
Yeah. I feel like if they do something continuing for Hulk himself, she'll pop up in that, but that's probably about it. There's no going to be continuation of her storyline, I feel like.
I just saw, like, she posted that it's not happening. Like,
Disney was like, no, thank you.
They spent so much money. Like, I think it was a couple million like per episode because of the CGI. It was like
I was going to say, because of the CGI, that alone is a lot. They didn't
make a lot on their return on that. They're like, no, we're not doing this.
No, it just, they had a good idea with trying to show the lens of a woman and like what some of the issues that women go through is, and they just beat you over the head with it so much and took it in such a very like weird, self-loathing, like, woe is me, they don't like me as a human, they only like me when I'm She-Hulk. And it's not that women don't have these body image issues and stuff, but they just kept hitting it on the head and just, it got to the point where you're like, I don't care about what she's going through anymore. And then there was some stuff that was very much like toxic self-sabotaging, and it just lost, I think it completely lost whatever female audience it had.
Yeah,
Hey, you said it. We didn't. Okay.
there's a
The
good
one
way
female
to-
on the panel said this. We
Yeah.
didn't say it. Okay.
I feel like there's a healthy way to with anything when it comes to any political spectrum, however you want to do it, when it comes to when you're putting it into entertainment, there's a good way to do it, and there's a bad way to do it. The best example I can think of. Did you guys watch Prey?
I have still not
No,
seen
we
it,
hadn't seen it. No,
That is, I highly recommend watching that, and that is, I feel like if you're really wanting that message to have a strong female lead character, that is the way to do it. That movie is like she's a complete badass, and like that's a good way to do that in my opinion. So I definitely recommend watching Prey if you're into the alien movies and stuff.
yeah, it's kind of like I liked how they handled all the political and like racial and everything like that with Falcon and Winter Soldier. The way they went about that was a good way to address a tough storyline and like real world issues without pitting people against each other and without losing your audience.
I got teary-eyed at the end of that show when he bought the statue and he brought him to the museum and everything. I got emotional. I was like, oh, that hit.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to start with the series. For me, we actually just got done watching Ted Lasso.
I forgot about that.
We binge watched the whole series, but the final season did technically premiere in 2023, so it counts. Yeah, that is it. One of the best shows I've ever watched. If you've never seen, I don't know what's going on with my stuff. If you've never seen Ted Lasso, watch the first episode and you're going to be like instantly hooked. It is such a feel good, like it's so rare when you have a show that is like so funny. There's some serious stuff mixed in there, but it's still like it always makes you feel good, and it's not like stupid comedy or anything like that. It's a very smart comedy. I also always love like anything to do with like, this is gonna sound stupid, with British people and the way that they talk is just like the best.
Canceled.
With the what?
Oh no!
No, like if you've ever watched Sherlock or if you've ever seen, there was a show that it wasn't originally on Netflix, but Bad Education, and stuff like that. But there's
slang.
Things, it's the slang, it's the way that they talk and everything like that that is very different from us and the way that they communicate with each other. It's just fantastic.
Very,
and having
like,
that whole like
highbrow comedy,
and having that like fish out of water situation with Ted Lasso being thrown in as a soccer coach, it's just a really good storyline. But as far as movies go, it's hard. I know I'm the one that was like, it's got to be top three. It was hard for me. I don't know what my exact number one is, but I just know like top three. Like y'all said, it's a big year for animation. There's a few movies that even with as much as we go to the movies that I didn't see, that I still need to check out, like Godzilla -1.
Mm-hmm.
I need to check out. I need to see The Boy and the Heron, the Hayao Miyazaki film. I still need to see that one because we're huge Studio Ghibli fans, and we still haven't seen that. So those could bump one of these out. But I mean, Across the Spider-Verse is probably on that top three, like y'all. It's tough. It's I'm like my wife. Honestly, Barbie is in there for me. That was one of the most surprising movies, one of the most fun movies I had all year in the theater. Like one of the most fun experiences in the theater I had all year. And I am still shocked every time I've seen it, what that movie is and what it has in it, and just the fact that Warner, I think it was Warner Brothers, and Mattel just let them freaking go for it. And I'm still shocked that they got away with some of the stuff that they did with Barbie. And then it's tough. If I wanted to go with like the movie I really enjoyed watching, I'd probably be like Ashlyn and be like Mario Brothers. I had a lot of fun with that. If it was anything more serious, I'd probably choose Oppenheimer. Was really good. It's just not one of those that I'm going to repeatedly watch type of thing. Like Nolan movies in general are never one of those. I'm going to sit down. I feel like watching a Nolan movie right now. Like
I
you
don't know,
gotta.
Interstellar is pretty good, man. That's one of my favorite.
It is good, and I watched that a couple of times, but it's one of
I'd
those
say
I gotta
that's the,
carve out
like,
time.
The Interstellar, out of all of them, I would say is probably the most rewatchable out of the Nolan movies, as far as like his regular content. Like,
yeah, I agree. That's the one I've probably seen the most outside of obviously the Batman movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not counting those.
but his specific movies, I've seen Interstellar the most.
Inception?
I need to go back and rewatch. I'm sorry.
Inception.
Oh, now that you mention it, it's probably Inception.
Inception, then Interstellar.
It's probably Inception is probably my top movie for me of his. Interstellar's right underneath it. I need to go back. I've only seen Tenet once. I need to rewatch that movie.
That one was really good.
I saw it in theaters, and it's one of those. It's kind of like when I saw Inception for the first time. I feel like I need to go back and refocus on what happened. But yeah, I mean, but he's just one of those, because his movies are always so long and so intense and like a lot happening at you. It's just, even when it's like this in the scope of a historical drama, there's still a lot happening, and
there is a lot going on.
A lot going on. Not just naked Florence Pugh, but you know.
Yeah, that I will warn you. There's some rough in Oppenheimer. There's some rough scenes. There's some like cringy scenes that are kind of uncomfortable. Like, yeah.
I feel like Florence
I've heard. I mean,
a lot of nude scenes I've noticed lately, so it's kind of normal for her.
Oh no, and she's not just saying that.
No,
she's not saying that. She's saying just
the problem.
It's kind of their dynamic, I think, is more what she's talking about, and some of the story points with that relationship. It's hard to watch. No. But that, as far as dramas go, as far as off the top of my head, that's probably the one for me that I would say is on the top list. But like I said, there's still some movies there's some gaps in my movie going experience this year that I need to fix. But overall, maybe not the best year at the movies. A really good year for animation, like we talked about. Fantastic year for animation. Elemental, I'm with you on that one, Ashlyn. Is not only one of the best animated movies of the year, it's one of the best Disney movies in recent years.
Yeah.
Very underrated film, in my opinion.
So out of the films that we've seen, babe, which would you say was the worst of the year? I feel like Flash for me was the worst of the year.
Yeah, it's not even a question. Yeah. Like, honestly.
It was quite bad.
I think we're all on the same boat on that one.
Yeah.
The only redeeming thing about that movie, and it's not really a redeeming thing, it's just a cool thing, was getting Michael Keaton. Outside of that, everything else was garbage.
Yeah, they wasted it.
And they wasted him, honestly.
Absolutely wasted him. Literally.
Yeah.
That's right.
Y'all didn't love the singing planet scene in the Marvels? Like that whole
that was a masterpiece, and don't you?
I haven't. I still haven't.
No. Like, honestly, that was bizarre. That was super bizarre in the middle of that movie.
I must have been in the bathroom when that happened, because I don't remember that.
I think you were, but it didn't really. I don't know. It was over pretty quickly. Like,
no, the original cut of that, it was 20 minutes long.
I heard they cut it down.
I'm like, thank God.
It was because I think it was only like 10 minutes or something like that. Not even.
It was quick, because if you went to the bathroom, it had been like 5 minutes.
But, yeah, it was quick, but it was fine. Like, it was weird. Yeah, it was super freaking weird. It was like The Mandalorian when they go to that episode where Lizzo and Jack Black show up. It was basically like that. I was like, this is taking me out of this, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But but other than that, I will just say I thought I enjoyed most of the Marvels. The villain was the weakest part, but that's another day. We've talked about the Marvels before. Real quick before we wrap up, we have down here what's called Megacon Orlando. If you don't know about it, you probably should. This is becoming one of the biggest conventions in the entire country. They're clearly trying to compete with like San Diego, New York Comic-Con, some of these massive events. The lineup is, I can't even tell you the amount of people that they have. They just don't stop announcing people. Like, we've got the cast of Back to the Future. We've got tons of Star Wars people, including Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen coming back for a second time.
Anthony Daniels.
We've got just, I mean, the
Tom Hiddleston, Paul Bettany.
Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, we've got Marvel people. We've got everybody. They're checking all the boxes as far as
Entourage, bro.
I can't.
Yeah.
That one was so random.
Yeah.
When I mean, they get those sometimes. They get those random picks and stuff like that. But that one was like they made this big deal of like we got the whole cast, and I'm just like, woohoo!
Isn't that
Like
past its time by like I don't know, like
It-
5,
20
10
years.
it's the 20th
20 years?
it's the 20th
Oh my
anniversary of
God.
the season of the series starting.
Oh my God, I can't.
And I think it was an HBO show if I remember correctly.
It was.
I'll say, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I have not seen this yet. Because I am not that big of an anime fan. I have my picks. I love my picks. I love my anime. I have not done the 1,000 whatever they're on episode run of One Piece, but I will tell you that community is stupid hyped over that that live action
Kid
remake that they've done, and Megacon's got the
a lot of
starring
cast
cast
members.
for that.
They've got the voice cast and the live action.
They got
cast.
the voice cast and the live action cast. So I mean, I know we're talking about the big AAA stars right now, but I will tell you that is a huge deal to be the first convention so far that has not only just the star of it I guess both of them, but both live action and regular, but to have the whole starring cast is big. That's real big. So
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
I won't speak
there's
for anime
something
fans
for
most
everybody.
times, but I will tell you that's a big thing.
Yeah. Brandon, Ashlyn, and myself will be there all 4 days. It goes Thursday through Sunday, the 1st through the 4th of February. If you guys are out and about and you see us, say hi, assuming anybody knows us.
Saturday, Sunday.
And yeah, Josh will be there Saturday and Sunday joining us as well. We'll probably do a little bit more like MegaCon content, whether it be from MegaCon or post MegaCon. We're definitely going to be talking about everything we have going on because all of us have autographs or photo ops that we're doing with some of these people. I think everybody here has Tom Hiddleston as one of the autographs that we're doing.
Not.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty much a must.
Signature from this man, and I'm so stoked.
Yeah, we've all got that. I know Brandon and I are doing the Back to the Future crew and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, y'all went crazy this year. I saw y'all's list. I'm like, I don't know how y'all gonna do this, but
I don't want to talk about it. Honestly,
I got a team.
And we don't.
I was just gonna say we got a team of 5 people, and we're going on with a dream. That's literally the only way we're doing this. It's like we're gonna pray really hard.
Oh my gosh.
We have
I
a
got 2
long
people,
list.
so I'm only seeing Paul Bettany and Tom Hiddleston. So I mean,
I mean, we still have people that don't even have pre-sales for their signatures that we have to get because I'm doing the cast from Princess Bride, so they're not pre-sale. So
no, we have the pre-sales for that one.
Oh, we do? Okay,
yes, we
good.
do.
Oh, thank God. I was worried.
No, the ones that we need to do. So like we're doing. I'm trying to get the voice cast of the animated X-Men series. They're going to be doing a special signing, and a couple of Star Wars people didn't have pre-sale stuff like that. For those of y'all that don't know, some of this stuff, the photo ops are more or less all done pre-sale, but autographs are kind of like 50-50 or like 75-25, whether or not the people do these pre-sale type things. The bigger names have to because they sell out. There's a handful of these actors that are coming that are already sold out for the event, and some of them sold out the day that they dropped.
Yep.
It's insane. But like I said, we're gonna have a lot of coverage for this stuff. We're gonna probably have like an entire like show and tell, episode after MegaCon, just kind of showing off everything we got. Lot of shenanigans. Is that what you said?
Yep, a lot of shenanigans.
So we'll keep you guys posted on that. But we're reaching that like almost hour and a half mark, so we're gonna probably call it a day here. I want to thank y'all so much for joining us. Real quick, I want to give everybody a chance to plug what they got going on. Josh, I'm gonna start with you. Let people know where they can find you.
You can find me over at McCoy Culture. Things are kind of quiet right now. It's more of collectible related, so I'm kind of waiting for things to come in. But other than those, you can catch me on Friday nights with Andrew on Toy Quest 101 Miguel. We do a live podcast there going over all things in the collectible community. So come on by and hang out. And then I'm here whenever Andrew needs me.
And Brandon, how about you?
Venture Authentics on most platforms. I want to say as well, I've started getting into TikTok more so than I was before. I'm starting to
You
really
doing
hit
the
that hard.
dances?
No, not quite. Not yet. But you know, maybe one day we'll see. But I'm doing I'm posting the celebrity interactions that me and my wife get at either the events or on the street with some of the celebrities. We don't harass them. Try not to unless they harass us first. I'm just kidding. That's not gonna happen. But there are some videos that have done really, really well on there, and there's a lot of engagement. So if you like celebrity interactions, if you like seeing what we're up to, by all means give us some follow on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the other places. You'll find us. So
Nice. Now, Ashlyn, I know where to find you because I live with you, but where can the people find you on social media?
So I do want to give a shout out for Brandon being able to say my wife on the first
Oh
show of the
yeah.
year.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
Woo!
Yeah, my hand's a little heavier
again.
now.
Gotta
you.
lift. Oh no.
Yeah.
You know?
So no lie, my other arm is actually like that. We were bowling last night, so I am like this whole arm is just jello right now. So,
Hopefully, I'll be able to join you guys in October. We'll see.
Oh yeah, nice.
Awesome.
Very nice.
So go ahead, baby.
No, I was gonna say, you go ahead.
So you can find me at BookBrat90. It's been a little bit quiet right now since October. I did a bunch of content and for spooky season, which is where we really shine, and took the whole month of November off. So I've had some videos that have been chilling in my phone for the last 2 months that I'm going to post from all our trips. We did like a cute little Southeast tour, went to Atlanta, went up to the Biltmore in Asheville, North Carolina, made a stopover in Gatlinburg, and then ended our trip out at Lookout Mountain and did all the stuff in Chattanooga, Rock City, Ruby Falls. So we've got some really fun content that I made Andrew create the whole drive home. So props to him for putting all of those videos together. We also did a trip out to St. Augustine to see the Night of the Lights out there. So we got some fun stuff with that. And then we've been fully like demo and renovating our apartment right now. So we're going to have some fun stuff coming up. Andrew's got the whole back room there that he's going to be putting out on his channel. All our collectibles, all our artwork is up. And of course, because everything has to happen at the exact same time, we've got Festival of the Arts going on at the same time. And we've got Metacon going on. So we already got like 3 different pieces from Festival of the Arts at Epcot that we'll be adding in that room with Drew. And then probably going to end up with some more. So we'll see where those go. The library.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely.
have.
I was just going to say it's definitely going to be a busy time over the next couple weeks for us, for everybody here. So we'll try and maybe do another one of these. I don't know if we'll get another episode in before Megacon, but definitely after Megacon. We'll be having a lot to talk about after that.
Yeah.
So you can find me at Andrew is Losing on pretty much all social media. Follow at Retroactive POD on TikTok, Instagram, and of course, subscribe here on YouTube. I want to thank you all so much for coming out today, checking out this video. Again, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you next time.
Slaughterhouse.
yeah.